Dun 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 dun. Hey everybody, this is True Powers Mine and this is TPIM SR Live. I told y'all it'll be a celebration. I tried to warn you, trying to keep telling you. Let's break this stuff down. Let's break down what's going on right now. Iran says U.S. false flag drone attack on Saudi oil pipeline. All you need to know at this point, we don't got to go running for no elder or what is the meaning of this? We can figure this all out ourselves. If you know one scenario, well, actually, a couple, the U.S. Maine and the Gulf of Tonkin, Vietnam. We do have a bit of a collective history of saying people attack this or that, and then we find out years later it wasn't quite as so. I'm trying to get this camera. I'm sorry, y'all. I want it perfect. And that's about as best I'm going to get. And riddle me this, Batman. How are we going to fight a war when most of our military parts come from China, which I already told to you about on past shows? Seems like it's going to be a very costly endeavor. But once again, when you're here to close a thing, what is price? China vows people's war, blast greedy and arrogant Trump. Farmers feels pain, apples in crosshair. And it just gets better. It gets better, y'all. Hold on, I want to show you something. I want to show you something. And what do you think? Who do you think is going to pay for this? $2 billion. Verdict against Monsanto is third to find Roundup cause cancer. People, we are a sick nation. If you munch down on oatmeal, cream of wheat, cereal, cold or hot, chances are you also munched down on some Roundup. You took a drink of V8 thinking you're doing all healthy and blah, blah, blah. Chances are you got a nice little dose of Roundup. It's everywhere. And then you think of the bioterrorists. You know, the little landscapers out there spraying that shit. They sprayed fucking park benches or water fountains on purpose. Some throw that in waterways on purpose. And we just don't get it. You're so busy living a fantasy. You want to talk about fantasy. The fantasy truly is living in a high-rise building, working at some conglomerate, feeling as if you have arrived. Because all that could be turned off like that. And you're like, no, True, that will never happen here in the United States of America. Why? Why do you believe this? Because you have been indoctrinated to believe this. You have been conditioned. Many of you boys and girls grew up in public education where you was compelled to stand up every school day, raise your hand, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Now, this has nothing to do with patriotism. And when you really think about it, in a free and open-minded society, this type of, let's say, governmental compulsory behavior should be viewed as somewhat communistic. And before everyone starts, oh my God, what about the flag, man? What about freedom, which that corporate flag was supposed to represent? But when I talk in terms like that, all of a sudden your mind should be clicking, well, True, in that case, it doesn't really apply to you anyways. And a lot of other brothers and sisters. Now, people like this, it would apply to. But people, and I don't even think we'll find one. I don't even think we'll find one. Nope, there won't be one on this whole page. It's sad, man. We're not even in the news yet. You think they're playing? Hold on. I'll go right here. See if there's any stories about us over here. No, they're just talking about the same little stuff. They're just talking about the tariffs. They're talking about um, more tariffs, donors. Nothing about people getting popped. Oh yeah, that's my headphones. Thank you. The live studio audience in the house. No, I don't need you to mess with that. All right, let's go to some unorthodox news. What, you want to sit up here and help me do the show? Oh my gosh. All right. Let's see what this says. Chinese state media. It should go to Swan or Shwu or Swing. Schwinn. Let's see what China's talking about today. They're not really even talking about anything about the trade war. To avoid. European power tells U.S. to avoid military escalation with Iran. Well, where did we get this news from? Certainly ain't going to be on CNN. As they're pumping you guys up with fear and stress, let me be the one to pop that balloon. Pop. Okay, hold on now. The European Union and member states' foreign ministers told U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Monday to exercise maximum restraint, meaning bow your little country ass down and avoid any escalation on the military side with Iran. The EU's top diplomat, etc., etc. Now, man, these people, the European signatures still supports the deal and have vowed to step up U.S. sanction reimposed after the withdrawal. Okay, and the U.S. under President Trump withdrew from the Iran nuclear deal. The deal endorsed by the United Nations Security Council, golly gee, was reached in 2015 between Iran, China, Russia, France, Britain, United States, and Germany. Okay. Now, why would Germany really have a seat at any table? Come on, man. Brother Murder, welcome to the show. Once again, why? I could possibly get France's involvement because, they're colonialistic hands. It's pretty much everywhere in Britain and Russia and China now. But this is the super states. China, Russia, and the United States. And I guess these are the second world countries, France, Germany, and Britain. What are we talking about? I just chimed in. Oh, we're talking about how, if you look over here, hold on, let me get over here. Iran says U.S. false flag drone attacked on Saudi oil tanker and pipeline that was recently hit. All right. American news is trying to drum up, oh my God, we're going to war. Trust me, when we go to war, we will know it. It's more saber rattling. And then when we go to swoon or swin, hold on. What's that? Is this a picture? Copy. I want to see how this is truly pronounced. I don't know Chinese, and I'll be honest.
Xinhua. Xinhua.
Xinhua. Xinhua. Yeah, even the baby's like, what? What? What do you want, baby? Hold on. Translator. What? Swinswa. Or Sinswa. Okay, hold on. I'm going to watch this now before it's banned.
Watch this now before it's
banned. Then I'm going to put it to, and then we'll hear how it sounds.
现在就注意它。现在就注意它。
现在就注意它。
现在就注意它。
现在就注意它。Okay, whatever. And then I'm going to, hold on. Hold on. And this is how we'll grow our little international. Oh, there's no chat room? What? All right, you can get down and go. Run along and have fun and play. You want to go night-night? Well, just stay up for just a little bit and then you'll go night-night. I promise. All right? Just go. Hey, check that out. Go and get the horsey. Now, let me try to find. I think this is a chat board. What the heck? Well, I guess I won't be spamming any of our particular brand of propaganda from this show in the Far East now, will I? Hold on, check this out. Now I'm trying to show you how to grow your channel. Those of you guys who want to grow your channel, this is how you do it quickly. Chinese chat board. Oh my God. That's all messed up, huh? All right. I think I've actually heard of this place before. Now I'm going to come up in here, right? And check this out. I'm going to grab a notepad. Okay. Now I don't know if this is going to work. I'll paste the Chinese characters right there. And then I'm going to jump up here. Uh-oh. Now I'm going to jump up here and I'm going to grab a video. Any video. Something that would be a little bit appropriate. And maybe even catching to the Chinese. Oh no. Come here. Did Sissy kick you out of the room? Sissy kicked you out of the room, didn't she? Alright, hold on. I'm going to put this one to bed. She needs a bottle. She wants to go to sleep. And then I'll be right back out. Oh my gosh. Hold on, Chad. What is that? Oh, I'm doing a live show, brother. Hold on, be right back. Hold on, y'all. As soon as I put this in there. No. Don't fall off of there. Okay. Got phone calls. I got everything going on. All right, we're gonna use what video to share with the Chinese. Don't want to share that law of power. You know what? I'm gonna share this one. Or better yet, hold on. What dare? Go. Hold on, we're gonna share a good one with these. We'll share this one.
Get your business insured in 10 minutes or less.
I'll grab this one. We'll share this one with the Chinese. Share. Where's the link? What the? Uh-oh. Hold on. Hey, man, I'm right in the middle of a live show. I don't even know if I can hear you. Yeah, hold on 1 second. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm right in the middle of a live show. Hey, come on, stop. Are you here? You can come through. Well, come on down. All right. Yeah, just come on down. I'll open the door. Hold up, yeah, man. I got too much stuff cracking. Copy. All right, hold on. Let me open up the door. All right. Oh, these kids. You would not believe how many toys I quite literally have. All right. Well, you got to get them put up. All right. Yeah, it's Brother Cobra swinging through. Hold on. Copy that. All right, I got that. All right, then I grab my notepad again, and then I'm going to post a link. Now that says watch. Copy. This says watch now. Watch this now before it's... Oh, damn. I got to put ban. There we go. Now that's the real... What, babe?
Look at me.
I see. All right, now I got the real link. Here's what it'll look like. If you can read Chinese, that says watch this before it's banned. It should be out here now. Right now. Where's it at? Oh, well, sometimes it takes a rather long time for people. Why put it in Chinese though? So that Chinese people can read it and click on it. I mean, some Chinese people can kind of understand English, they just can't read it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, look at all these Chinese folks. There's a billion of them. Even a tenth of them is English speaking. Okay, now let me sign up for a chat room. My email, I don't want you to do all that. Well, what email could I possibly use? I don't want this really tied to my regular email because that would just be, I already got like 20-some thousand unread emails in that mother. And then I had to go and blah, blah, blah. Ugh. Okay. I think I'll take your point there, Murder. I will save this for another day. All right? I'll save this for another day, another time. But I'm not going to stop. Wow. I'm not going to stop with the deprogramming of the escalation of the saber rattling. That has to come to an end, yeah. You know how many people... Listen, if we was to check out the cringe zone, they're going to be all on, oh my God, emergency transmission, Austin, Texas, blah, blah, blah. All right. In fact, let's just go there. You know what? Let's just go there. I'm going to say the website that should not be said. Well, actually, I won't. I don't even have to say it. I'm just going to the headlines. I'm not going to say the website name because I don't want the algorithm to ban me because of this guy's buffoonery. Now, the only time you're going to see melanated folks on here is when someone's trying to desecrate us, desecrate our image. I'm saying straight up. Or else you're going to have a Judge Joe, or not Judge Joe, but Clark, Sheriff Clark type. You might get a Sheriff Clark type on here. Hey, what?
Look. Hey, Dad. Hey, Dad.
What? What is that? Oh, man, you're doing it really good, baby.
I did it.
Yes. I'm not. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get to the. I think I just saw his live feed. All right.
See the knuckles on her fingers again and like the bones.
All right. Now, I want to. What's up, Brother Donald? Welcome to the show. There was a show. Someone sent me a clip of his, and he was singing like a country song and shit. He's doubling down on his love for his own, straight up. It really should make you think of what Al Sharpton has said, deeply racist. Now, I know that a lot of people are going to be, no, Jones loves us, blah, 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 blah. If he loves you so much, how come he hasn't come up with the concept of the hub? How come he didn't come up with a concept of a tract of land that we totally control? No, he wants you to stay in your damn misery, but buy his products. That's called moneymaker.
Tell the truth. Support the broadcast.
See, that's what he's talking about. Support, support, support. I'm saying keep your fucking money, Donald. Keep your fucking money, murder. Use my videos to make money and use that money to, if you can, to help. 211 is that drink of death, but the old mob connection. Are we watching a straight up like commercial? 50% off. Yeah, this is a commercial, dude. It's just put up a commercial for its own stuff. All right. Well, we'll let this run its track. I don't know how long of a commercial that was. I don't know how long that's going to be. But I'm not going to bore you guys with that. You know, I just want him to come on. But, hold on. Because I want to keep this fresh in you guys' mind. The war for your hearts and minds. Oh, my bad. Damn it. I didn't mean to do all that. I want to go here. The war for your hearts and minds, friends, is still going. It is still going. Yes, I watch a lot of videos. It's one of these. I think it might be this one. Yo, Bird, welcome to the show. Okay, hold on. Now check this out, yeah.
That's what it looks like when you have an irreverent and irreligious atheist conference in Oklahoma.
And notice who's it mainly populated by. And trust me, I think on this lecture, he's going to go into reverence and pride about how this nation of ours was founded by non-secular Edomites. So basically, what he's doing is getting things set up for chattel slavery 2.0, which will probably end in chattel extermination 2.0.
Tulsa, Oklahoma, home of Oral Roberts University, where Michelle Bachmann was undereducated, and where Jesus is a 900-foot tall extortionist. My wife and I visited ORU after the first free OK, and if you've never been there, it's kind of creepy. It's a little bit like being on a campus ruled by pod people. And this prompted her to read up on some of these evangelical colleges, and she discovered something interesting about Bob Jones University, also known as BJU. I got the two schools confused because I thought that BJU was where we got oral.
Little nasty stuff. Let me tell you guys. You know, I've been on this. The atheists are coming against rant for a couple, I guess, days now. I was not alerted to this until about a week ago, when a confidential informant sent me a clip of this gentleman, told me to research him. Actually, they were trying to hey, try to get the dude on the show. I doubt very seriously whether Aaron Ra or Saran or Argon, Ron would even come on my show. I seriously doubt it. Not that I would be disrespectful towards him, call him any type of names. It's just that I'm just too small, I guess. My show's not big enough. That's what I often run into issues when you try to get certain folks from certain genres. I've reached out to, the amazing Randy. The guy that is basically this guy's master. He's also Penn and Teller's master. There's a lot of magicians and mentalists that he is basically their master, and he is an atheist as well. I would consider him or classify him as an arch atheist because his power and reach extend so far. Now, even though now he's really, really old. He's not doing interviews, for obvious reasons. He has an image to uphold, and I respect that. But I did have a chance to talk to him off camera. Interesting conversation. I was wanting one of his acolytes to come on the show. And basically, if you listen to our Aaron Ra, you will hear James Randi coming through him. This isn't anything new, guys. This isn't anything that we should not be concerned about. This is something that you should very well listen. Once a person forsake biblical morality, then you, brother murder, you're just a monkey. And you can call in, by the way. The phone lines are always open. Just a monkey. You're just an evolved ape who happens not to be quite as evolved as this man. And therefore, he has the right to subjugate you. I don't believe in that. Nor do I want others to fall prey to it. Listen, you don't have to believe in God. You don't have to believe in spirituality. You don't have to believe in reality, I guess, to that degree. But one thing that you should contemplate, forget about what you might have heard or been instructed. What do you know in your heart of hearts? What do you know? Do you even communicate with your heart? Do you even know what's inside of you? Are you always looking? Well, hey, welcome to the show. I'm doing good. See, another day in paradise. Cheeseburgers and the whole nine.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time before I go to work, so I just wanted to, add to the show if I could, if you don't mind.
Yes. What do you like to talk about today?
Talking about this Aaron Ra guy right now, right?
Oh, yeah, Aaron Ra.
Yeah. I mean, as far as what I'm seeing, as far as what I'm understanding, these atheists themselves really don't hold any power in this society. I mean, as time has gone on, let's just say from the I don't know, in America from the 1960s up until now, you can openly declare yourself as an atheist, and honestly, nobody's going to do anything to you. There really aren't hate crimes against atheists in this
Right.
country. I mean, I'm sure you can find a case here or there, but nobody's really messing with these guys because they're the product. They're not the producer. The producer of atheism itself, believe it or not, is the Catholic Church. And I mean, not to go on this anti-Catholic rant, that's not really my focus, but I mean, you have a church that has, in this day and age, dedicated itself to pushing people away from God rather than bringing people closer to God.
Exactly.
And I mean, a guy like Aaron Ra, as outspoken and as well known as he may be, this guy is no threat to anybody. He's going to go on his little routines. He dies, basically. He's not going to change his mind anytime soon. He's not going to have this revelation where, you know what, I was an atheist, but now I'm a Baptist. I'm Presbyterian.
Yeah,
He's playing his role. He's playing his role. These atheist guys hold no power. They're products, not producers. And that's a very key thing to understand. Guys like him, they don't see certain things in life that'll make a man like you or me understand that there is a God. And furthermore, God that favors us because we tend to want to be, if we're not already what? Good, righteous people.
Right.
This guy, I don't know what his life experiences may be, but for whatever reason, he's gotten to a point in his life where he said, you know what? There is no God in my eyes, and I'm going to dedicate the rest of my life to being an atheist that speaks in front of college campuses.
Yes.
And you know what? That's all fine and good, but I mean, not to necessarily disagree with you just to be disagreeing with you, but, you know, to sit here and say there's a anti-atheist movement is like, I mean, not anti-atheist, but this major atheist movement against, you know, everyday average Joe. It's like saying there's a major duck movement in the pond across the street. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Listen, for one, where are you going to attack atheists at? They don't have a temple. You know, there's the atheistic, you know, church or whatever. They don't. Listen, if you understand what he's doing, he's defining the argument by using Edomite books that were written a couple thousand years ago as the only truth of God's existence. So because the book was written for a purpose, and he's facilitating the believers of the book that if he can find fault with the books, therefore they should find fault with the faith and reject it and then follow up his yoke. Follow him. That's what he's
right. It's really taking the cult of personality that's around the church and building it around itself. Look at me. I know this. I know that. I don't believe in God. Here's my proof. Some of his arguments I can understand, but I don't necessarily agree with as far as I'm going to accept that as fact for the rest of my life.
Let's hit this forward. With him. Let's listen to him.
Just because I'm older doesn't mean I'm mature. Now, although BJU had admitted Asians and other ethnicities since their inception, they didn't allow African American students until 1971. And even then, they only allowed married black students. Why is that? Bob Jones didn't want single black college students because he didn't want the races to mix.
Now, don't you see that common theme? You know, who's always screaming about race mixing? I guess the people who are genetically inferior. And that's what kills me about later on when he talks about evolution and how he plays it out. Where, in not so many words, he's saying that he's the highest form of evolution. But when he lays with a black woman, his children will be black.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. What was Obama? They called him black despite the fact that he had a white mother.
Right.
In any other circles, he would be considered biracial or mixed. But when you ask the average American, I'm willing to bet 90% of all of us in this country say what? He black. Right. That white, in our eyes, for whatever reason, the white, you know, in him, it's canceled out as far as what we consider to call you. They don't call him the first biracial president. They call him what? The first black one.
Exactly. And that's because the one drop rule is in effect. And when you understand the one drop rule, then you can see why all these descriptions of people's so-called race are always given out.
Right.
Let's hear more of this sycophant.
Please do.
At that time, there were a number of creationists holding to the idea that God invented 5 races of people, black, white, yellow, brown, and red, that he put them on separate continents with the intent that they remain separate. Now think about what that means. I know of people living in this country right now who think that white people came from Adam and Eve. And there's all these other races that are separate creations and aren't related at all. And I know from prior research that many different religious groups have believed this sort of thing for thousands of years. But the idea that any seemingly educated official would believe that during my lifetime is rather disturbing.
In what way? That's what I'm asking, brother. How can you feel disturbing by that fact? Because he's in the group that's supposed to be the descendants of Adam and Eve, and everybody else are just mud people.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these speakers. There's several of them that, while they do tell the truth to a degree, they'll only take you so far, and they have to interweave the truth with their narrative and what they want to get across, so to speak. You get what I'm saying? Which is basically half truth, in my opinion, because it has a motive or agenda behind it, as far as instead of the truth itself being told objectively. That's what I'm looking at. Are you just telling me the unabridged, raw, truth, or are you interweaving that truth with your agenda? Which is the case here. Everything he's prepositioning his argument with, the Bob Jones thing, different colored people on different continents, he's just using that to preposition what? His atheist agenda at the end of the day, because this, and that, which did happen, which is true, the Bob Jones things, the Bob Jones College University thing especially, he's still just going to take the truth and interweave it with his lie, which is the atheism.
Right. Let's continue.
Ken Ham, who runs the Young Earth Creationist Organization, Answers in Genesis. Even he said that when he was in Australia, his old church tried to teach him that, but even he knew that's not really true. Let's pretend for a moment that it is true. What would it matter if somebody's father is half Danish and Nigerian, or if their mother is half Dravidian and Japanese?
Or if their father is CIA.
Japanese. What difference would it make if they and everyone else kept mixing like that for 5 or 10 generations or indefinitely? So what? How could that possibly matter to us, to our descendants, or to a God? So,
see, by him making that statement, it's like he totally negates the effect of racism and how economically it benefits a perceived race.
True, but I mean, the economics of his time are still dictated by one. I mean, not to put everybody in the same bucket and say they're bad guys, but economics of this day are dictated by one group of people, and that's what? White people.
Right.
The face that's on the money that me and you use, I haven't seen Frederick Douglass on $1. I haven't seen Martin Luther King on a 50. This is white man's money, white man's economy. So, I mean, it's kind of a duh moment. Like, okay, well, what are you getting towards? Because we already know this. But the key point is he doesn't point that out directly. He just takes this overall, if you're a group of people, you have a say-so in that economy. That's a lie. All this economic mess, any sort of economic theory you want to talk about, it goes back to white people. Not saying that there aren't any blacks, Hispanics, Asians that haven't had their take or their own genuine economic theories. I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, as far as what's being put in place, what's being practiced, this is all white man stuff. Not just capitalism, but, I mean, any other ism you want to put to it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
He's not saying that.
Now I'm going to switch over here to this Jones stuff. And I want to get your take of the propaganda that's going on right now. Hold on.
Oh, please, go ahead, yes.
He's probably going to...
You're listening to The Alex Jones Show.
Come on with your propaganda. Here we go. I ain't going to listen to that crap. Now, the confidential... Because I haven't listened to Jones' show for fucking ever. They said that he's going more country, and hold on, here he is.
There's an all-out total takedown of any websites that question vaccines and damage from it. We know there's takedown of free speech. They're talking about taking the NRA out of banking. We're putting up with.
Why is the NRA in banking?
Sit around and even talk to my IT people about the companies taking our servers away and lawsuits, and we're being deplatformed everywhere. And people go, gee, you think it's political? It's like your house burned down and you're wondering if you had a fire. You've got ashes, and we're discussing it's ashes. It's ashes. It's ashes.
I'm sorry.
Right.
What do you think so far, Brother Murder?
I mean, I heard that little bit, and I'll get to it in a second. But my overall knowledge of Alex Jones is that he is a CIA. As much as he wants to talk out against the government, he's one of their guys. I mean, I have a podcast from 2009. It was called Mystic Politics. I forget the guys that were hosting it, their name right now. I'm not in front of a computer. But they had a whole episode about Alex Jones, and it wasn't just to slander him. This was all facts. This guy's parent company for his show, it leads to nowhere. It's like a shell company for, the stuff that he's trying to do. But if you trace past the Alex Jones show to his parent corporation, that corporation goes nowhere. It's not owned by anybody. You can hardly find any information about it. And the thing is, the podcast that I learned this from, that was in 2009. Imagine how well he's cleaned up the paperwork since then. This is 2019 now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that thing's been mobbed. Let's see what
Alex Jones, and anything, he's an agent provocateur. I put him on the same level as the Donald DeFreeze with the SLA, the Symbionese Liberation Army, which Mark from Anaheim talked about a lot. A lot of these guys seem like independent actors that are revealing the truth to you, or they might do a little bit of domestic or foreign terrorism. These guys are on somebody's payroll within the government. And I mean, Alex Jones, he interweaves, once again, like Aaron Roth, he intertwines a lot of the truth with agenda. And as time has gone on, I've watched him a little bit. I don't keep up with him. But as time's gone on, Alex Jones doesn't really give you much as far as factual information. He points fingers. Oh, these guys did this, and InfoWars are trying to shut us down. All that mess. It's a game. You're an actor.
That was a good.
The Bilderberg Group and Harvey Weinstein. How about this? I forget what town he's in. I forget a lot about
He's
Alex
in
Jones.
Houston,
He's one of those guys where I've just put him in a file, and that's the agent file. I know who you work for. I know you just have a job. Nobody's going to kill you. Nobody's going to get rid of you because you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do.
Now, why do you think so many black folks look up to him in certain ways?
They don't know any better, and that's just the best way I can put it. It's simple, but it's still accurate and correct. They don't know any better.
Oh.
You have to go past Alex Jones if you really want to know the truth.
Exactly.
You have to.
I'm going to play just another little excerpt.
You'd be like a kid, John, I love you to death, and I hate to see this happen to you. I'm not mad at you if I seem frustrated. I'm just pissed the general.
Oh, my God, the people he had. This dude looks straight up emaciated. His little guest guy, I don't know who he is. Hold on.
Situation that we're debating whether you've been censored or not when they deleted your 18-year popular site off your provider, and we're just trying to get you back up. But forget Alex Jones, forget John Rappaport. This is a system-wide thing. I want to get your take on that. But first, something you said that is intriguing and intelligent and to the core of this. You've got your main page back up. People can go there.
So, in other words, Brother Murder, this guy can say very provocative things, and he gets censored, like you should. But all these other people who are following in his footsteps are going to do the exact same moves, and they will be censored as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a very decent run, but now in this day and age, what's happening? He's getting kicked from Twitter, kicked from YouTube, kicked from this platform next. That's not hurting him. If anything, he probably knew that was happening. He's an agent. He's part of what's going on. He has to help usher in what? Censorship. You're not really telling the people anything. You're just playing your role. But guess what? Other guys that are, they're taking the licks, not you. Alex Jones isn't going to go bankrupt. But he hops on his little platform. He gets his donations. He pitches his BS products, and he's going to be fine. Plus the check he's getting from somebody in the government, CIA, NSA. You take your pick. I'm not saying I know him to that degree, but I can definitely say he's an agent. The podcast that I listened to back in 2009, the books that I have read as far as people who are connected to Alex Jones, man, he's an agent. He does what he's told to do. This stuff isn't hurting him. It's to hurt the truth seekers like you and me.
Right.
Guys say, well, get out here. I'm not afraid of the government. I'm not afraid of these big, bad, rich men who are ruining the world. I'll sit up here and tell the truth. That's who gets hurt at the end of the day. That's what the censorship is really going to hurt.
Exactly.
Jones will be fine. Jones will be fine.
Let's hear some more from Amin Ra.
Evolutionists for the rest of their lives. They will not be able to be converted back to creationism because they will know better. They won't be able to pretend otherwise and wouldn't want to. They'll be better off for it. But that challenge is usually refused at the onset. Most creationists simply will not risk it. Those who accept the challenge freak out pretty quickly once they realize that I really can prove my point, like I said, because I don't do what they expect. I've learned that it doesn't matter what evidence you show them. They can reject it all on the excuse that doesn't prove anything. They don't even have to understand what you said, and they try not to. They don't know why any given fact counts as evidence because they don't know what evidence is, and they don't know what evolution is, and everything has to adhere to their straw man distortions of it even after you've proven all that wrong. Belief in...
But isn't that a bitch? He's using a straw man to attack spirituality and consciousness. But yet, he's flipping the script like Alex Jones does. Right over here. Listen to him, flip the script.
And sign up for your email to get your...
And they, make a practice of not telling you why. It's like it's almost as if nobody's looking at you. Nobody's saying anything. All of a sudden, you're censored and cut off.
All right. Now
creationism is a form of religious extremism, which requires both a misunderstanding of science and a denial of reality.
Now, what do you think about that? If you believe, Brother Murder, that you're not a monkey, that you are a divine child of God, that the Most High created the universe and all things within, then you're just a loser, lunatic. That's what he just basically said.
I mean, he can say that till he's blue in the face. I'm not going to accept that as fact. And it's amazing how the least spiritual people are the ones who try to defeat spirituality in question.
Exactly.
He never sits here and tells you his spiritual journey and, lets you know, I got to a point where it just didn't work for me anymore. It failed for me. Now I'm speaking out against it. He comes at it from a dry, factual position. And that's fine, but I mean, as far as you, the human being, I don't live with Aaron Ra. I don't have to sleep with that boy or none of that mess. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But you. And at the same time, there's certain aspects about you that you're not willing to reveal. I mean, why are you so on this anti-spiritual, anti-religious, bit, and you're an atheist and all that? You're not getting to your personal reasons. You want to present dry fact after dry fact. Now, these facts in question, I won't defeat him and say, you're lying. I've researched some of this stuff as we're talking. Like, he's not lying necessarily, but that in itself isn't the whole pie. You know what I'm saying? That's not the whole shebang.
But once again, he's playing the victim card, and he's using his intellect to sway people like the education boards to buy books from him and his buddies, just like they're doing over here with this.
And how do I even get in touch with these people to protest it or to ask for a reason?
And remember the other show when I was talking about, I forgot who I was talking. No, with Dr. Neely Fuller Jr. That when King went out to protest, he knew he was going to get locked up. He knew he was going to jail. So if we go out to do the same type of protest, we better be prepared to be locked up. And when we get locked up, it should not be a shock. It should not be, oh my God, I did not realize that is what's going to happen. And this is the reason why you don't see people out there on the street.
Oh yeah, not in today, not really.
I'm not trying to get locked up just to prove a damn point. You know, I don't give a shit about eating at the damn lunch counter. I want to account at the bank. I don't care about if I can get a house over here or over there. I want to be able to get the finances to get my own land so I can live away from these fools anyways. Because I wouldn't want to
live in peace without, interruption. That's all.
Yes. Yes. Let's hit this guy again.
For example, I told Ray Comfort that his only strength was his inability to understand simple concepts. Since I'm trying to educate someone determined not to learn, then I can't just tell them things that they're pre-programmed to reject. I have to engage them to get them to think about this, to teach them the real terms, and make sure that they understand what we're talking about and agree on what would be acceptable answers and why. That means we have to do a few rounds of Q&A, and they'll be expected to acknowledge certain points as we progress to confirm that they are learning. I can't succeed without their admission, so the onus is on me, but only as long as they participate. Usually what happens is that they default to challenge early on by repeatedly refusing to answer direct questions. Questions they know they dare not answer because it will compromise their preferred delusion. And it is a delusion by definition because it is a persistent false belief which will not change despite irrefutable evidence to the contrary.
And have you seen any of his irrefutable evidence on how the earth was made? A bunch of rocks crashing into each other.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's his position on the topic. Me personally, I'm somewhere at a place where, in public school, at university, I've been taught the round world, argument. Earth was constructed over millions of years with asteroids. You get the whole, I don't want to get into this all together.
Right.
But I've been transitioning towards the flat world argument based on what's been presented in the Bible and my own personal beliefs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
yeah, you saying?
No, I totally see what you're saying.
But it's just like I'm saying, it's that transition. You wanna what's his name, Aaron Ra, he wants to assert everything from this dry factual standpoint. I mean, you can have a very intellectual and logically appealing argument, but guess what? A lot of people don't even think that way. People make decisions on emotions in this day and age more so than the logic or even the educational sources presented. I can tell you George H.W. Bush was an absolute MFer with himself as far as the stuff he really did that you don't know about. And if you want to be so emotional and have this regard for him in your heart to where he can do no wrong, it doesn't matter what I present logically, what paperwork I put in front of you, he did this, he did that. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Because
I mean that's just my thing. Like, you can present that argument, but that's not going to necessarily appeal to everybody or even get your point across that well, regardless of how well you state it.
Now, while we're sitting here talking about Aaron Ron, or Ron, I don't know his name for real, but this guy, and I would say the subverting of morality, the state of Florida may create prostitution registry for pimps and johns. Don't you see, when you start taking God out and you start interjecting this brand of intellectualism, you're going to get things like that. You're going to get your daughters being prostitutes and your sons potentially being pimps, johns, or prostitutes themselves.
Well, you know what they say. It's the world's oldest profession. Not to mention Jesus hung around what? A prostitute. He was married. Mary Magdalene.
Well,
not to justify it, but I mean, that just doesn't shock me, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's Florida. The amount of crazy mess that goes on in Florida, it doesn't surprise me at all.
But the thing about it, people don't, it's more of a racial thing.
Because Get these black people to sell their kids and
exactly,
their children on the corner.
Exactly.
And very few white people are actually going to do that, or any other demographic. Whoever's closest to poverty in this game, as I like to call it, that's who's going to be subject to that law.
Exactly.
I don't expect Sue Young, who's a second-generation Chinese immigrant, to be on the corner selling her body. But I guarantee Letitia or Felicia, she's going to be out there doing it.
Because she got to get that money. She has no economic impact. You know? This is why I say the hub is so important. If we don't want to fund our own liberation, then you know what? We might as well just go off into the night quietly. We'll board the trains and we'll get burnt up and taken out of the game.
Jones.
What is this?
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
And that's the answer to Chattel Slavery 2.02 again. In 1776, brother man, don't worry about being equated to a monkey because you was straight up subhuman as a slave.
You're listening to the Alex Jones Show.
Can't say InfoWars anymore. Is that the next step? You can say IW. Okay, we know what that means, but you can't actually pronounce the name of the website. That's too horrible. They could go there. If the public either buys it or is unaware and too stupid to respond, that's where it's going to go.
And these are the same guys, Brother Murder, that say us, y'all need to stop being victims. Stop talking about the past. America has overcome its racial fucking past. But yet they're playing the role of the victim now. Disgusting. What do you think, Brother Murder? It's still there?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm serious. Excuse me. I didn't hear the last end of what you're saying.
How these people on Jones's show today seems to be bitching and moaning about how much of a victim or how oppressed they are by the banning. It's like they're playing the victim card, but they'll tell you and I to shut the fuck up when it comes to reparations or any grievances we might have with the treatment of the people.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a basic, I mean, not to sum it up in its entirety as a basic thing, but what I'm basically seeing is a flipping of the tables or flipping of the script, so to speak. You know, a lot of these guys are born in an age where, yeah, white man pretty much had whatever you wanted, but guess what? The Negroes were getting pretty close. They're getting close. They're letting them in. They're letting them into colleges. They're allowed to get loans on cars, houses. You know, they're letting them into the military. You know, that threatens somebody who feels entitled to everything.
Oh yeah.
If you are getting something, anything, you are threatening somebody who is entitled to every single thing. Now, with the presidency, the current age of tension within politics, now you have what? The white boys want to play victim on their way to what? Victimizer, coming from a place where they were already victimizers to begin with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now I want to cry victim. I don't have any heroes that are strictly straight white males, more likely Christian believing, or at least atheists. I don't have that really anymore. John Wayne is just gone.
Yeah, he's dead. Been dead. And they're worried about his movies won't be seen because of political correctness. No, they won't be seen because nobody wants to see that old tired ass bullshit.
Right. You rode off on that horse the one time, I saw it forever. I'm not going to watch that again.
No. You don't see black people being juked the way they did. No. Nobody wants to see that bullshit, but they're going to be like, no, that's political correctness in action. No, it's just people, even your own young people, would rather listen to hip-hop than listen to some old Ozzy Osbourne heavy metal. And they're having a hard time dealing with these paradigm shifts of consciousness and change because they might not want to accept the so, but it's there.
That's absolutely what's happening, right? It's a paradigm shift. Those that were the victimizers, if not themselves, your father, your grandfather, somebody along the line of your family is their own slaves, or they went overseas and killed a bunch of brown people, yellow people, you name it, for no reason. You're now in an age where you don't even have that sort of authority. Look up, what's the term I'm looking for? You don't have that type of person look up that role model. You don't have that.
Right. And
this is happening across the board with all races of people, not just in America, but across the board. Can you name me one guy that, in the case of black people, can you name me one guy who's just this absolute masculine figure? He doesn't have a problem telling a woman, you know, I'm not going to hear that. You're not going to talk. You know, he's a stand-up guy, basically. Right. And he doesn't pander to women. He's a man's man, so to speak. Can you find me one black figure on TV or movies who's like that? Or who hasn't put on a dress before?
I mean, how long do I get to come up with this person? Because it's going to take me
I mean,
probably
it's
from
far,
now
well, I
till
mean, I know
the
we're
end of
speaking from
time.
two different points in time, so to speak. So, I mean, I'll say as far as I'm concerned, the past 30 years, can you find a figure within the past 30 years who was a real man's man, who was a stand-up guy, didn't take shit, you weren't going to talk to him any type of way. If he told you how he felt, that was the end of that. And I mean, amongst other things, you know what I'm saying?
There was really
Can you
only
find me a
one.
figure like that?
There was
A guy
only
like
one I
Steve
could think
Harvey
of.
has a live studio audience with nothing but white women. The occasional black woman. I don't see any black men in his audience.
Wow. But it made him rich. It made him rich, but now look at him. Everyone's clowning him.
He has to pander. He has to pander to this demographic. I'm a black man who is a former stand-up comedian. If you've heard any, I'm not to shit on Steve Harvey, but he's just what I've seen recently, what I remember recently. I'm this black man in my 50s or 60s, whatever, that used to tell some of the dirtiest jokes in the sense. Used to curse and used to talk about, aspects of life that you wouldn't say around kids, so to speak. You get what I'm saying?
I should say.
Now I've gotten older. I have a major network TV show that panders to women. As a man, as much as you like women, Brother Pat, do you want to sit up here for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, a whole hour and talk to women about a bunch of BS
Do I
that
do
panders
that?
to them?
No, I don't do that. This is a man's show. Women participate. I'm thankful for you sisters coming up in here. But they do it in the correct way. They always bring truth to the game. They don't sit here and talk about, oh, men are shit. Why you guys all... No. We talk about things that are going to free all of us collectively.
Yeah,
You know
it's subjective here, but on a show like Steve Harvey, he panders to women. When this happens, you tell that man this, and if he don't give you what you want, you hold back the sex. All this nonsense that comes out of Steve's mouth. But I get it's a game, but it's a game that he willingly plays at the end of the day.
Yeah.
He takes off that time. He comes out of that shirt. Thank God I don't have a studio audience of 200 women and I have to appease on top of studio masters, guys at the network, stuff like that. It's a game. It's a game, but he willingly plays it.
But he plays it because of the financial.
Society for men.
He gets that financial
men
benefit.
are told not to be men. I'm sorry, I didn't make that you off.
No, it's all good. He just gets that financial benefit. Let's just be honest. This is why they do. Listen, this is why Bill Cosby came out back in the night. Brother Murray, you need to pull your pants up and eat a pudding pop. All right? But then,
right.
You see how that gets played out when we find out he's putting Mickeys up in drinks. All right?
Right.
So we got to understand, we don't kick it with these people on the real. I can sit up here and say anything, and then behind the scenes, I'm the exact opposite. We got to get that thought in our heads, and we got to look at people's actions. What are they telling you? Alex Jones ain't telling you to save your money and shit. He's telling you to send your money into his shit, get his little juice, and it's going to hook you up. Not saying his juices don't work. I don't know. I don't fuck with his juices. But I'm just saying, if you want liberation, then we have to have economic independence. We have to have a hub. We have to have land that from this point moving forward, you have a place to lay your head. Even if you get old and start shitting on yourself, you'll just be shitting on yourself up in your own crib until you want to go to the nursing home or facility. But we don't have that option. Many of us won't even make it to that stage of the game. The stress is going to kill us. Another brother or sister is going to kill us. A fucking virus that they release will kill us. So we have better reevaluate our standards and reevaluate our so-called leaders if you indeed choose to follow a leader.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing how people get a whiff of shit, but in a room they can never point it out and walk towards it. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You can sit here and say something's fishy about this guy, something's bad about this guy, but you're not willing to go to that source and say, okay, here's the shit right here. This is what's really wrong. It's always beating around the bush, and people will willingly do so. You know something's wrong, but guess what? You won't point it out and provide the solution to what's wrong. It's just, well, I know, but, it's whatever. There's a lot of people where if a room smelled like shit and they had to sit in there, they would. Without finding where the source is, without, trying to use deductive reasoning. Okay, why does this room smell like this? Why is it like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's no process to it. It's a lot of, it is what it is, and I'm going to deal with it till I can't no more. That's the worst type of mindset to have. You keep punching me in the face, I sit here and say, I'm just going to deal with it till I can't no more. I'm going to more than likely end up what? Dead.
Yes. You're going to end
jab
up
after
dead.
jab after jab in the nose. And I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to just deal till I can't no more.
And you won't be able to do it no more. And that's how many of us have this mindset. It's like we never understand the stove is hot. No, I keep it out. Oh, no, I keep it out. No, I keep it out. You know, we got to realize sooner or later the position or maybe the posture we're taking is not the correct one to take. Maybe we need to reevaluate, especially on a collective level, but we'll never come together collectively. But individually, hopefully, we can reassess our personal goals, our personal, let's say, wants, not needs, but our wants, because that's what often gets us in trouble, what we're trying to think that we need. We need to reevaluate, is it constructive for us or is it destructive for us? And act accordingly. I know that's tough, it's going to be hard, but that's what we have to do. What's up, brother Al? Welcome to the show. Man, I hear my phone going off and shit, but that's irrelevant. Now, I want to play another clip of Airman Ra, and then we have to shut her down, but we'll play this clip and see what's up.
It's an a priori conclusion which must be defended at all costs, even after it has been proven wrong, which is one more reason why faith is the most dishonest position it is possible to have. And I've been using a lot of us versus them language as if there are only two extremes. Of course, that's not the case. Most people fall somewhere in the bell curve rather than out on the extremes. And these two philosophies do exist. It's just a matter of how much of both anyone embraces and in what applications. When we're talking about creationists, there really are only two types: deceivers and the deceived. And many of the deceived are happy to be that way and refuse to be reasoned with, but that's not true of everyone. Most reject the more repugnant or indefensible dogmas while still holding on to some core belief. Many believers will proudly describe themselves as reasonable or rational based on how little of their religion they still embrace versus how much they now reject. I think it's funny when people realize that the less you believe, the more reasonable you are, but they stop before they reach the logical conclusion. They still cling to some piece of it and won't let it go. But it is possible to reach some believers. Most of them, in fact, believe what they do for what they think are justifiable reasons, and if you show them otherwise, they will change their mind. That's why Christianity is in a general state of decline, while atheism is the fastest growing demographic. Not everyone is as deliberately deceived or deluded or unreasonable as Ken Ham and Ray Comfort. But they're both running multi-million-dollar rackets, and of course that means they wouldn't be convinced even by a time machine. Which is too bad, because Ken Ham's favorite way of questioning what he says is what he describes as historical science is by asking the question, were you there? And wouldn't it be great to answer that question? Yes, Ken, I was. And that's one more way that I know that you're wrong. So what would you do if you had a time machine or got shot back in time to the dawn of civilization? And maybe it happened by accident, so you weren't able to pack any cool things to show people, but you're stuck there long enough to learn the language. What would you tell these people? And I've asked this of a lot of people online, and the serious answers, the good ones, tend to be the very opposite of most of the Ten Commandments. Most of the reasonable responses, well, almost all of the reasonable responses, the serious ones that I've seen, have offered better information, more useful information, and better guidelines than anything in the Bible, Old or New Testament.
All right, we're going to have to end the madness here. I got to do a little running today. But hopefully, once again, we gave you something to think about, reflect upon. Remember, if we don't fund our own liberation collectively, it will not happen. Chances are reparations will not be coming. Our politicians that should be on our corner will not voice this for political reasons so that they can keep their money and their power while you suffer underneath the yoke of what's out there. So today's date, May 14, 2019, the year of our Lord. This concludes TPIM SR Live. I'm your host, True Powers Mind. As always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, Let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace, brothers and sisters.